Welcome to the second lesson in Module 2, Assessing Who We Were and Developing a New Vision for Life. In this lesson, you will learn how to employ the tools available to help individuals with brain injury to begin the journey, to change the way they view themselves, to expand and deepen relationships, to explore their past and their current and new interest, and to craft a new vision for life. Before we jump into Lesson 2, let's spot check what we learned in Lesson 1. Take a moment to review the bullets. Which statement do you believe is false? That's correct. After injury, what's important to a person may or may not stay the same. What's important to and for a person varies based on where they are in their journey and may and often does change over time. In Lesson 1, we focused on the variability in a person's journey to recovery. We learned that no matter where a person is in their journey, what's important to them is just as important as what is important for them. We explored some person-centered practice tools that can be used in discovery. In this lesson, we're going to build on what we discover to help a person find a vision for the future, even if that vision for the future is only 1 month out or 6 months out. The point is to meet the person where they are in their journey. Small steps can lead to big gains. To take the steps to a vision for the future, you can use many person-centered practice tools. Again, it's important to tailor your approach to the person. As you work with someone, consider printing out the tools so the person you're working with can work through these questions along with you. Another thought is to ask the person you are working with to complete the tools on their own, using their own wording, so that when you meet with them, they will have the opportunity to prepare for the conversation and get down those things that actually matter most to them. So let's get started. So for illustration purposes, we will use personal futures planning as a tool to illustrate how you can work with a person to take discovery and help them form a vision for their life. The Personal Futures Planning Workbook walks through 4 pathways to the identification of a vision for life. The pathways focus on helping a person to feel whole again, feeling good about oneself, having hope for the future, and creating a vision of a good life. The workbook follows the 4 buckets of person-centered practices that we talked about in Module 2, Lesson 1. To help a person to begin the journey to defining a vision for their life, you start with the relationship you build during discovery. In the Personal Futures Planning model, 3 maps are used. You will use these tools to help the person to map the people willing to listen and help, what the person wants to change in their life, and their hopes. This planning model uses the concept of taking a journey. The person with brain injury starts by identifying who they want to travel on their journey with. They do this by starting to map out the people who are willing to listen and help them. Using the open space on the map, the person identifies the people in their life who are willing to listen to them, talk about things that are important to them. They include people who find ways to keep their hopes and dreams from being lost, and those who treat them with respect. The tool includes question prompts such as, who does the person rely on? Who stands by them through thick and thin? And who shows concern for how they are doing? Other person-centered practice tools that are similar include using a relationship circle, mapping relationships, or reciprocal roles, as shown on the slide. As a person moves along their journey, they begin to complete Map 2. In this map, the person begins to think about the things that are getting in the way of change. This map includes question prompts such as, in what ways am I dissatisfied with how I spend my time? Do I feel that I'm free to make my own choices? And what do I feel I need most that I'm not getting? Other person-centered practice tools that are similar include what's known as the path template or the trajectory tool. Again, if you look on the slide, feel free to pause the video if you want to take a closer look at these 2 tools. These are very similar to the previous slide, personal futures planning tools. After thinking through the things that may get in the way, the person then begins to map out the things they'd like to see happen in their life. The tool includes question prompts such as what things interest me most that I'm not doing now, or who would I most like to live with, or what would be a great job for me. Other person centered practice tools that are similar include the path and trajectory tool that were shared on the previous slide. The path tool and the trajectory tool combines what a person wants to change with the hopes and dreams of that person. As a person continues their journey, they begin to identify the people in their life that can help them turn their hopes into reality. The next three tools in the personal futures model focuses on relationships. There are three maps: a map of current relationships, one that focuses on how well those relationships work, and one that focuses on improving those relationships when needed. And you'll notice in the tools that there's one side of the page for what works now versus what doesn't work now, before and after a brain injury. Other person centered practice tools that are similar include using a relationship circle, reciprocal roles that were shared on the previous slides, as well as possibly the presence to contribution tool that is shown on this slide. The third path of personal futures planning is to focus on redefining oneself. This third path includes three maps. One map is a focus on interests and strengths, another is on challenges and problems, and the final map is on who the person is now. These maps are helpful tools for identifying the interest and strengths a person has before brain injury and how those interests and strengths may be the same or different after brain injury. Helpful prompts include asking a person what things interested them before brain injury and what things interest them now, or what they considered talents or strengths before brain injury and what they consider talents and strengths now. Using a similar set of prompts, you can begin to identify the challenges and problems that exist by using prompts such as what was frustrating in my life before brain injury? What is frustrating in my life now? The final map in this path is a focus on what is important to the person now, building on the responses of the initial mapping of strengths and challenges. Other person centered practice tools that are similar include the important 2 and 4, which you're very familiar with from Module 1, the good day, bad day tool, or a tool called 4+1 questions. Following discovery, you can then help a person to envision their life for the future. There are many tools that you can use to help a person identify a new vision. If you follow the personal futures planning model, you would use Map 10. This map is a focus on developing a positive future based on the previous 9 maps. Question prompts include: where would I like to live and with whom? Can my relationships be improved? How do I see myself contributing to my community? Other person centered practice tools that are similar include the path tool and the trajectory tool that were mentioned previously. You could also use the life vision tool, which walks the person through ways they could look to the future across life domains, such as what their future holds in employment, how they engage in their local communities, and the supports they need to be successful. Although in this lesson we use personal futures planning as an example model, you can mix and match the discovery and visioning tools to best meet the person that you're working with. On the website, you will find a library of person centered tools that are organized by discovery, visioning, planning, and monitoring. This library is located at the Adults with Brain Injury webpage. Before we finish up this lesson, take some time to reflect on what you learned. What is your biggest aha moment? Can you think of ways these tools can be helpful to the people you support? Feel free to pause and use your workbook to record your reflection. These are the references used to develop this lesson. Thank you for joining the second lesson of Module 2.